Good morning and welcome back to my channel if you follow me, and welcome if you're new. Could I ask you to follow, like, share and all that jazz, you know, to get my content out there to people that need to hear it on this critical time on earth. And I say critical because, yeah, it's never been done before. It's global awakening. And it's real, and it's happening, and it's affecting our friends, our family, our loved ones, and ourselves, you know. So yeah, let's get this content out there and raise the awareness, and yeah, get this spiritual toolkit out there, you know, of people that have gone before, like myself. 8 years ago I started to awake, and my angels and spirit team came through with a download. That's messages from spirit being downloaded into me to pass on to the collective, and they said, you have to go ahead. And I said, why do I have to go ahead, spirit? Because I was back in my ego, you know, back then. I was like, why me, spirit? I'd not done the healing. I'd not had enough tools in the spiritual kit, you know, to understand why I was going ahead of the pack. Not just me, but many going ahead also. Yeah, I'd not done enough healing then, you know. I've not walked this path as long as I have now. It was early doors back then. And I was just trying to figure out what was going on, you know, because spiritual awakening, it's hard. And if you follow me, you'll know my spiritual awakening also comes hand in hand with the twin flame awakening. So a lot, you know, for one person to cope with, it's a lot. But I'm not on my own. There's many like me. That was preparing me for the time of now, you know, to get this content out there and to help others with my spiritual toolkit and show others that they don't have to be stuck behind these swords. You know, spiritual awakening, you feel like you are stuck. Yeah. You feel like you're stuck behind these swords. You feel like you've got eye covering over. What's the word? Can't speak today. Yeah, you don't have the sight at this stage to see. You know, eyes to see, ears to hear. No, you at this stage it's early stages of your awakening, and you feel stuck. And you know, there's no one there with you. You know, you know you're on your own. I did very much so at the beginning. I didn't have eyes to see and ears to hear. I can't speak today, so I've got, yeah, no voice apparently today also, which brings me on to the actual download that was coming through this morning after meditation. Why I'm online today. It's been a while since I've come online. I've been reposting videos that spirits wanted me to prior, early on in my journey, these videos, but excuse me, I've been rested and tired and exhausted with all the powerful energies that are pummeling us at this time on planet Earth. It's a lot, you know, 5-5 portal, the full moon, very energetic, powerful shifts occurring, and I should be used to all this by now. You know, 8 years on this path behind these swords, healing. But you know, the higher you evolve also, the more you feel these energetic shifts. Very powerful. But yeah, these swords, you're not always going to feel like this. You're not always going to feel stuck behind these 8 of Swords. I can promise you that. And you're going to have eyes to see, and you're going to have ears to hear. I can also promise you that. Do the work, do the healing, go inside, and you can come out from these swords. Now there's gaps. I didn't realise that back then, but there was gaps that I could get through. But I had to do the healing, you know. Can't skip this journey, you have to do the healing. These cards I've not used for quite a while, and there was guiding me to them, and they're the Thelma Tarot. They're probably one of the first, as you can see, they're a bit tattered and torn, like our angel wings. Before, you know, on the start of this journey, we're a little bit tattered and torn, so I would take this journey to heal. Yeah, just like these cards. So they've directed me to these cards today, which is very, very strange. But, you know, I know now I'm out of these swords that wherever Spirit's guiding me, it's for purpose, you know. So, yeah, going back to the I can't speak today. Well, I can speak today because I've done the healing. Now, 8 years ago, I couldn't speak. Couldn't speak about this journey. Because I didn't know, you know, that much about this journey. All I knew is that I could feel something under the surface, you know. Although I was blindfolded. Yeah, the words are coming back to me now, you know. I was blindfolded and I didn't have ears to hear. I could still feel. And feeling is my superpower, I know now, you know. So, although I was blinded to the truth back then of this journey, and I just felt I was stuck, and I'd be forever stuck behind these swords, because, you know, the first stages of your spiritual awakening, you go in there, especially if you're to inflame, you're going to places you never ever could dream of going, and that's for purpose, you know. But let's get back to the automatic writing. So follow me, you know, I do channeling in all different forms. More and more forms coming online as I evolve and move on in my journey and keep pushing through my swords, you know, because I still have swords to push through. But I have that spiritual toolkit I can fall back on now. So they want me to speak about spiritual toolkit, not about the download that's just come in. So spiritual toolkit download came in yesterday, and this is what they're guiding me to. So spiritual toolkit, what is that? Well, for me, it was my yoga. It was getting on my yoga mat every day. 20 years ago, finding my yoga mat and healing through my 7 energy centres. We've got a lot more inside us, chakras, but they Rainbow Bridge, you know. So yeah, morning yoga sessions. That's part of my spiritual toolkit. That was the very, very beginning of armouring myself, you know, in this earthly realm, and for fighting back from my physical ill health and my emotional and my mental, and also uncovering my spiritual side to me, you know, because before I got on the yoga mat, I didn't have eyes to see or ears to hear. I was stuck, yeah. So I didn't know that yoga was going to be my spiritual toolkit. I just knew that I had to move my body to get it healthy. And I felt this knowing, this deep, deep knowing of it's an inside out job, you know. Inner world creates the outer world. So I understood even back then, although I was blindfolded, didn't have the sight back then, but I had that knowing. It was an innate knowing that I had to heal inside out. And that was like 20 years ago, maybe more now. So I'd get on my yoga mat daily. Maybe a few days here and there, depending on how ill I felt on that day. But I would push myself, you know, because yoga to me, I remember getting on my yoga mat and the words coming through, yoga is your medicine. And even back then, I was being guided by my spirit team and my angels, by a unknown force. But I didn't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you know, clearly back then. I was still stuck, not done the work, not done that deep introspection and healing I needed to understand that yoga was my spiritual toolkit. Not just yoga, you know. But that was that was the very start of my journey, over 20 years ago. So I'd get on my yoga mat, knowing yoga was my medicine to better health. That's all I was concentrating on, you know. I just wanted to get out of bed most days. And, you know, to feel stronger in myself and to feel better in myself. And the more I got on my yoga mat, the more I did. That strength started to return, you know, not straight away, not days, not months. I'm talking years of deep healing on my yoga mat. My sanctuary, you know, my yoga mat became a sanctuary when everything else felt like I had these swords surrounding me. Every direction of my life, every area of my life, I felt bound, you know, by these swords. But my yoga mat was that freedom, you know. I knew eventually I'd stop feeling like this. Yeah, not to be too dramatic, spirit, but yeah, really want to, yeah, felt like my critical ill health literally made me feel like death, you know. But inside these 8 of Swords, inside me not having the sight and the ears to hear back then, I knew that this